Hey, kids! Do you like toys?
Yeah!
You know what's more fun than playing with toys?
Huh?
Setting them on fire! With your new Little Inferno entertainment fireplace!
Yeah! It's Little Inferno, it's Little Inferno just for me. I've got the fireplace that burns at 100 billion degrees. It's Little Inferno just for me. I've got these old toys. And I've got this box of memories. We'll shove them in the fire and breathe in the flaming potpourri. It's Little Inferno just for me. But I thought playing with fire was dangerous.
Well, you're right. But up out of your chimney, way up in the sky, it's been snowing for years, and we just don't know why. Our world is getting colder. But there's no need for alarm. Just sit by your fire, burn all of your toys, and stay warm.
It's Little Inferno, it's Little Inferno just for me. I've got the fireplace that burns at 100 point degrees. It's Little Inferno just for me.
100 billion degrees is pretty damn hot. Those guys at Tomorrow Corps are amazing engineers. I love that song so much. Welcome to my adventures in Little Inferno, the game exclusively about pyromania. This is going to be the first purely post-commentary episode I've done in a while, but I want to show some things off, and that will require me to jump around a little bit to do so. So this is a game that kind of flew under my radar when it came out last year, and it would have continued to do so if not for those awesome humble indie bundles. And it would have been a real shame too, because this is one that is worth not missing out on. It's an incredibly simple game. Little Inferno is one of the simplest games I've ever played. You just set things on fire by holding the left mouse button down, or however your respective device controls, and mousing over an object, and you find new objects to burn by burning money, burning what you already have, earning and burning. And you can get combos which award you with stamps that get items delivered to you more quickly. Each stamp is worth 30 seconds, so if you have an item that will be delivered in a minute, it takes 2 stamps and it will be delivered immediately. It's got some surprisingly cool physics effects too, and there's also the cool little thing where if you just hold the flame next to an object, it'll just sear it, just singe it a little bit. You can also kill these little spiders up there, and they will give you a little money boost, which gets progressively more large as the game goes on, so you can keep a steady flow of buying new objects from the catalogs. There are 7 catalogs in total. They unlock in sequence after you have completed enough of the preset combinations, and after you have earned enough money to unlock them. You can also unlock new, more space at the table, so that you can hold more items at a time, and you're constantly throughout the game getting letters from NPCs like the weatherman from your neighbor, from Miss Nancy, the CEO of Tomorrow Corp. Not the actual Tomorrow Corporation, just the in-game one. The actual Tomorrow Corporation, the developers of the game, consists of just 3 people. It's a small 3-person indie team that's developing this, and the developers hail from mainly 2 games that you're most likely to know anyway. World of Goo and a DS game called Henry Hatsworth. Of course, they've worked on other games aside from those 2, but those are the largest projects that brought this 3-person team together for this game. They were all graduate students together, and the idea for this game came from something called the Yule Log, which is a show that isn't so much of a show as it is more of an animated GIF. It's a video of a fireplace that plays on a loop around Christmas time, and they were joking about how they were sure that someone would churn out some garbage shovelware for mobile, and they decided to run with that as a premise. And they wanted to see if they could turn that terrible premise into something genuinely fun. And I think they succeeded pretty damn well. The idea of it is just, like I already described, you just play with all of the objects in the catalogs. You experiment around with them, and that's the fun of it, is just playing around with all of the items, and there's something like 140 objects in the games, all of them with mostly different properties. Some of them are just flammable, and that's all they are. They'll just ignite and burn for a little bit and then turn into a pile of ash. Others, a lot of them have some unique properties with how they burn and how they react to being burned. Like the tiki torch that I just lit on fire will spout flames from its mouth. And a couple items will combust, they'll explode. I think the batteries might... Yeah, the batteries just combust. There are items... I think there's one item that's a snow globe that don't have just yet in this catalog that will freeze objects and you can thaw them out later. And just playing around with the different effects is a big part of the fun here. And then, of course, discovering all the combinations like that one. And being rewarded with stamps and talking to your neighbor and discovering some of the backstory to the game. It's just a nice sense of discovery that you get from this game. It's kind of an addicting novelty, and it's really relaxing too. There's nothing stressful about playing Little Inferno. It does have kind of a sinister streak to it, though. It's got a bit of an eerie story to it. Kind of unsettling. It reminds me a little bit of that Are You Afraid of the Dark episode where if you stare into the flames long enough, the kid summons a monster. And it reminds me of how after the first time I watched that episode when I was little, I was afraid to look directly into the flame of a candle. So there are undercurrents of this catastrophic freezing snowstorm, and there's kind of sparse contact with the outside world. You keep getting letters from this character called the Weatherman, and they're really grim, bleak letters that pretty much just spell out doom for you. It's very creepy. And then there's also this kind of propagandizing of fire. Like the Tomorrow Corporation is using this idea of a catastrophic, apocalyptic snowstorm to sell their fire-based product to you. Like they've cooked the whole thing up. And then they're just feeding you into this loop of having to constantly buy in to stoke the fire. It's so sinister. I love it. I love the atmosphere of it. Which is surprising because you wouldn't think that a game that takes place entirely in front of a fireplace would have such a strong atmosphere and such a strong backstory to it, but it does. Just that idea of the slow impending death of civilization to this snowstorm and this ice age, and everyone acknowledges it, and all they can do is they can just keep themselves in protracted comfort while the world ends around them. At least that's if the story is to be believed and it's all reliable. Unless someone links the fire, like Lord Gwyn. A lot of fire recently between this and Dark Souls and Little Inferno. And you know, it does massage the lizard brain pretty well. And it is a big compulsion loop, the game is. But it isn't really psychologically manipulative just for the point of extracting money from you. Like, there's no microtransactions or anything. It's a pretty cheap little game. It's not feeding you into this compulsion loop just so that you will wind up giving them more and more money. It's not that kind of a hollow experience, which I really, really appreciate. And it's also kind of a cool little metaphor about games that are just cash grab type compulsion loops, because you need to keep stoking the fire to keep from being outside in the cold, so you're stuck in a loop of buying money, or of buying objects to stoke the fire to get more money to continue stoking the fire. And it's all circular. It's all going into Tomorrow Corporation's pockets within the context of the game. And that's pretty much how most mobile developers function. Not all, but I would say large majority of mobile developers function in that way. Between mobile and Facebook games, stuff like that, it's kind of cynical, sinister, cash grabby. And that attitude has unfortunately proven successful, so much so that it's crept into and infected mainstream AAA publishing, which already had its to separate you from your wallet. But let's not talk about games like that when we're playing this delightful game. But anyway, I'm done with that, so let's jump forward a little bit and take a look at some of the other cool things about the game. Here are the 99 combos. Some of them, they start off only taking 2 items each, but some of the combos down the road, you have to incorporate up to 3 items. Makes for a lot of combinations of possible... combinations? What's the word I'm looking for? A lot of permutations and combinations of objects to be found here. But first, I'm going to show off a few things. Remember I said that the developers for the game had previously worked on World of Goo. They previously made World of Goo. Well, there's your little reference to World of Goo. The casual game and the goo balls. Let's see, what else do we have here? Ah, that's what I wanted, the Tetris blocks. So, let me just buy a couple of them. Oh, and there's also a little imitation Meat Boy up there. Forgot about him. So remember I was saying that a lot of the fun in the game comes from just discovering things about the combinations and the unique properties that all of the objects hold. The world of the goo balls, I was kind of hoping would have this effect where you could stick them together or something. That doesn't really happen, so we're just gonna ignite them, combust them, they'll pop like balloons. Kind of a unique property, not the one I was expecting though. And don't worry, I'm not gonna show off every possible thing, I'm not gonna spoil it. Part of the fun of the game is discovering things on your own, so I would highly encourage you guys to pick this up for yourself. It's available on, it's available on Wii U, on the eShop, it's available on tablets, smartphones, PC through Steam, or I think there are also DRM free versions. You can pick it up on a wide variety of devices. And it's pretty cheap, it's like $5 or $10, something like that. Probably way less if you get it on the App Store. But anyway, now that I've bought time for this, that is one of the cooler Easter eggs. And it's one of the ones that you're likely to find right off the bat. And now we can just start a nice big blaze, a nice conflagration. Yeah, just gonna heap all these Tetris blocks on the flame and see how high I can stoke the flames. This is about the limit, at least as far as burning Tetris blocks go. Wooden Tetris blocks make for a pretty good fuel source in the apocalypse. Don't forget that. Now, next up, gonna wait for the flames to die down. Maybe not wait quite so long. You can see that Gravity Boy here has that unique effect where he can take all the cinder, all the ash, the burning remains, and the flames, and attract everything to him. Let's see, now we can drop the jar of fireflies, shatter that open, and you see the mouth on the Little Inferno face is opening just enough to where he can eat all of the fireflies. And I get a real kick out of this game. I like it. I really, really do. Now here, I was trying to experiment with the exterminator and another jar of fireflies, trying to position him. Because I wanted to see if the exterminator would exterminate the fireflies. And this broken magnet is not so broken. You can see it speeding up the metal gears in the background. So it does in fact work, and yep, broken magnet doesn't seem to stick to metal for some reason. Nah, it looks like it works just fine. And couldn't get it to shatter again, so had to wind up burning it instead. That's fine, because the glass will just burst open, and the Little Inferno face will get a nice big meal again. This is the unique property of the exterminator. He'll just start belching flame from his pesticide cannon, I guess. And the cool thing about this is that he will heat the metal face up to nearly white-hot temperatures. And of course, we are going to end the episode in style. In fact, you could say that we are going to end it with a bang. Also, I like how a miniature sun is only $6. And normally we would have to wait a while for all this stuff to get delivered, but through the magic of editing, we can nuke the sun much quicker. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take it easy. Have a good one.